My dad, Roland Abdurrahimov, had always wanted to find the grave of his father, Gani, my own grandfather, who died in Hungary in the winter of 1945. With the help of the Council of Veterans, he managed to find the exact location of the grave. A village about 20 kilometers from Budapest called Zamali. While Dad was still alive, my whole family went there with him, including my kids and my mother, and we installed a memorial plaque with Granddad's photo. We remember him. My father, Muhammad Ali Safargaliev, was considered missing during the war. In 1985, I managed to gain access to the archives of the Ministry of Armed Forces and found documents indicating that he had perished in Voronezh. There's a very large monument there with many names on it, including Dad's. Every year on Victory Day, Mother would say, "Dear Lord, I wish I knew where he was buried." When I finally found out and told her, she was at last able to find peace. I too found my father's grave. All I had to work with was a death notice. With only that, I managed to find the little village in the woods near Smolensk where Dad died from his wounds. And that's where he was buried, in a trench. My father never returned from the Great Patriotic War. He died a violent death. He was 32, I was 4. One day I was looking through stock footage at the Russian Film Archive, the Kazan railway station in Moscow. Famous artists whose faces I've known since I was a kid: Karyakubov, Tamara Hanum, Halima Nasirova. Suddenly, my heart stopped. I started to rewind the film slowly. Dear God, my dad, Ergash Hamrayev, was looking at me from way back in 1937. Instantly brought back what Mom used to tell me. You were born during the days when Moscow was hosting a festival of Uzbek art. Your dad was so excited that he gathered all of his countrymen together in Arakvi, a Georgian restaurant. "I decided to call my son Ernst," he declared at the table. The name of the German anti-fascist Ernst Thälmann was frequently mentioned in Soviet news at the time. Our friends suddenly refused to eat and drink. The Central Telegraph was just next door, and your dad rushed there to communicate a new name to Tashkent, Ali. Mother would often reprimand my brother and me. "You live in the moment. All you can think about is wine and girls. You never take time to look for your father's grave and bring back a patch of soil from it." In 1973, I finally went to Vyazma. Odelsha Agishev, my screenwriter friend from film school, came with me. We found the location of the Chachovka village at the local post office. An old lady showed us the log hut that used to house the medical battalion and told us that old man Afanasy was the one we needed. I'll never forget his words. Afonya, our commander, had said, "The Germans are getting close, we have to go. I've got 20 dead men. We need to bury them." And there they were, lying naked on the white snow. One of them had a somewhat darker complexion, maybe your dad, perhaps? Why were they naked? What did the dead need clothes for? Living women need skirts. Living men need overcoats. Odell Shah was taking note of every little detail. I asked our driver to lend me a crowbar to try and get a little frozen soil for my mom. I took a shot of vodka and swore I would make a film about a man looking for his father's grave. In 1985, I got a chance to film my confession. For some reason, I had decided to shave my head, and that became the opening shot of the film. My mom sang in it. The cast included my brother, my daughters, and my wife. And my dad, of course. I even put in a small appearance myself as a memento. In the 1920s, films were a novelty in Uzbekistan. Just like the first Aeroflot flights. A guest from Russia was always offered a spoon when treated to the traditional pilaf, which we eat with our hands. Everyone was exceptionally hospitable. This is Vyacheslav Viskovsky, the brave Russian director who came to Bukhara from Leningrad. Viskovsky went down in history as the maker of the first Uzbek feature film, The Minaret of Death. Moscow provided the funding, the crew, and the equipment. Bukhara supplied the costumes, the horses, and the crowds. Nadezhda Vendelin and Valentina Baranova had to portray harem prisoners. Casting actors back in 1925 was a challenge. In local theaters, young men had to play female roles. To be filmed without a veil could put your life at risk. That same year, Dmitry Basaligo released The Muslim, starring the stunning Olga Tretyakova. Mikhail Doronin discovered the incredibly talented Rahil Meserer, whose daughter would become the celebrated ballerina Maya Plisetskaya. And director Vladimir Krivtsov boldly showed how some followers of the Quran behave. Adventure seekers kept coming one after another from Moscow and Leningrad, looking for something exotic and romantic. I think they fell in love with the Asian sun and grew infatuated with the young art of cinema. Local boys were practically called in off the street. They started off as gophers, carrying tripods, serving tea, spraying water on the dusty sets. That's how Nabiganiev, Kamil Yermatov, Malik Kayumov, and Ergash Hamarayev all entered the world of film. Excerpt from his autobiography. In 1928, I graduated from the Uzbek Teachers College. Dad never got to work as a teacher. He met Nabiganiev and ended up at the Ishankul Mosque that had become home to a film studio. Samarkand was the capital of Uzbekistan at the time, and that's where the People's Commissariat for Education presented this young lad from Fergana with a free train ticket and a student assignment. Back in 1928, documents still used the Arabic alphabet. Certificate for students entering the higher education establishments of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic with places allocated to national minorities. The bearer of this certificate, Ergash Hamarayev, is dispatched to the city of Leningrad to study at the film college. A new life awaited the young man in Leningrad. Dad's professors were young, but already exceptionally famous. Grigory Kozintsev and Leonid Trauberg, as well as Sergei Gerasimov. They gave the go-ahead to aspiring young actor Hamarayev to attend screenwriting classes at the same time. Dad is 19 years old. Look at that cap. And those eyes beaming with happiness. The college building was hit by a bomb later during the war, but part of the archive was saved, including Dad's personal profile. Personal questionnaire, social status, son of a farm laborer, preferred roles, tragic and dramatic, favorite poets, Rabindranath Tagore, Chulpan, Fitrat, favorite playwright, Navoyi, Fizuli. Many years later, Bari Haydarov, the famous actor and dubbing director, would tell me about those times. At the film canteen, I'd often suggest, "Uncle Borya, how about 100 grams of cognac?" "Absolutely not. No way I can drink 100 grams. 50 might be okay, though." Your father and I were in the same class at college, and we went to all of the theaters in Leningrad. We lived in a dorm, we shared one room. Whenever we went to the canteen, I would order the soup, and your dad Ergash would have the main course. We had one decent pair of pants to share, and we would take turns wearing it to take girls out on dates. We had so much fun you can't imagine. We would laugh our heads off. During the holidays, Nabiganiev invited his best friend Ergash, now a third-year student, to star in his debut film. Studies over, the young actor adds a shot from his first film to a newly purchased photo album with an inscription in Roman letters. "Happy New Year, Leningrad, 1 January 1932. Excerpt from his autobiography. In 1932, I graduated from the Leningrad State Film School as a screenwriter and actor. Then he landed another lead role, and again with Nabiganiev. Even my grandfather Hamro was in the film. Here you can see both father and son in one shot. What a moment to treasure. Dad had a brother named Ruzibai. They didn't look anything alike. Many years later, the Fergan elders told me, "Your granddad Hamro had 4 wives. Your uncle Ruzibai was from his Uzbek wife, and Ergash was from his Tajik wife." Excerpt from his autobiography. I joined the Red Army in 1933 and served in the Uzbek Cavalry Division. I graduated from the Samarkand Regiment School, a reserve troop commander, never been abroad. Artist Alexander Nikolaev, who converted to the Muslim faith and took the name Ustumumin, drew a portrait of the young military student Ergash Hamraev. I came across his sketch in the archives by chance. In 1935, Ergash Hamraev finally debuted as a screenwriter with Jigit and played the lead role, and who do you think directed it? Well, of course, Nabi Ganiyev. The young actor was already looking for students of his own. He became director of admissions to a film acting school. A girl from Samarkand named Nastya Tarasic came to take the exams together with her friend Hayri. Nastya had been born in Ukraine in the Poltava province. Her father had gone missing in the turmoil of the Civil War, and Ukraine was then struck by famine. Together with her brothers and sisters, Nastya was saved by their strong-willed mother, Anna Yakovlevna. Trains brought their big family to the remote but abundant Samarkand. Her friend Hayri was admitted to the film school, but Nastya got a grade of D from Ergash Hamraev. Come on, why are you crying? I want to be an actress so badly. I sang you a song in Uzbek, and I danced your national dance. You silly girl. Who would you play in the films? There are so many veiled girls in the streets. They're the ones we want to turn into actresses. You need to go to Moscow or Leningrad to study. My mom will never let me go that far. Come on, don't cry. Where are you staying? At a friend's place. Come on, I'll walk you home. So her teacher, who was also the director of admissions, walked the crying girl home. And a year later, I was born. And 3 years later, my brother Davliat. A girl with blue eyes comes to settle in a side street in the old town of Tashkent. The wife of a famous artist, she can speak Uzbek fluently, and she can cook pilav. Always happy to treat her neighbors. The village name of Nastya stayed back in provincial Samarkand. Now she was known as Asiya. Her husband's father would first frown at her, but later would call her nothing more than Asiya Khanum, Khizim, which means sweet daughter. I think Tamara Hanum's popular song was inspired by my parents' love story. The bad times crept up on us, out of the blue. Mom would tell us they suddenly started to criticize the film Jigit for symbolism and naturalism. Moscow even stripped Ganiyev of his film director title. Then there was a fire at the Tashkent studio. Ergash, Nabiganiev, and 20 others were arrested as arsonists and Japanese spies. Excerpt from his autobiography: I've never been a part of any counter-revolutionary organization, nor have I ever deviated from the ideology of the Communist Party. Mom would tell us, the investigator asked them not to hit the artist in the face, but they did anyway. When they let your dad out, they all got together at Nabi's. I came along too, even though I hadn't been arrested. They drank vodka, shared prison stories, and laughed. Everything that used to seem so tragic was now ludicrous. To freedom, friends. Hey gosh, look who's here. We all knew who had ratted on us. After 2 years, we'd sniffed the bastard out. Then I just left. I didn't want to impose on my friends. It was their first chance to sleep as free men. Mom used to say, I was so happy when they let Dad out. Director Suleiman Hojayev and writer Abdullah Qadiri had been killed, and Dad was friends with them. Director Alexander Usoltsev ran into Dad after he was released. You're so skinny, Ergash. I have a small part in Ruby Stars. Come to the mountains with us and bring your family along. That's how we rediscovered happiness. Looking through Dad's notes, I found the following notes. Voice-over for Train Station, and the date January 17th, 1940. That's when he was working on the film Ruby Stars. That means I can hear his voice, because previously he had only been in silent films. The train station episode. Several voices talking over each other. But there was another note, the Yusupov court. Excited, I watch on. That's how I heard my father's voice for the first and only time in my life, speaking in a soft voice with a little bit of an Uzbek accent. Life seemed to go on. Mom was working as a secretary in the screenplay department. That's her in a white beret. Dad is wearing a tubateka. Contracts were made for new scripts. Victor Shklovsky was brought on board as a consultant. June 13th, 1940, a CEO was taken to Takhtapul to give birth to her second son, or maybe a daughter. That's my little brother Davliat with our grandfather in front of our house. It's early spring 1941. Everyone is still wearing coats. Another tragedy, this time for the country and its people. A troop train is leaving on July 26, 1941. Mobilized officer Agash Hamrayev is rushing to finish filming in a military film series. He's playing a kolkhoz farmer going to war. Dad was sent to Iran with a cavalry corps. Russians were worried that the Germans were going to be a threat to the oil fields in Baku. A romance in letters began. Asya, thank you. I was the first one to get a letter from home. Everyone envies me. I'm sorry it's dark. I have to write on the go. On paper wrappers from Red Army crackers. Surrounded by the desert, the moon, and the stars. Ursa Major, the great bear, is right above me. Look up at the night sky and you'll see it. That way we can spend a moment together. I sent a revision of the cavalryman script to the studio and to Ganiev. Please see that they read it and get back to me as soon as possible. I'm so sick of working at headquarters. I wasn't born to be an administrator. Once again, I requested to be sent to the front. I'm worried about your health. You've been through so much, and there's still so much ahead. That's why you're so thin and weak, my love. Alyosha, hello, son. Keep growing. Stay strong and become a commander like me. Here's a horse for you and a plate for Davlyat. Now to the clairvoyant, the handkerchief, and the dreams. You have to stop believing in all those superstitions, my love. I had an extra handkerchief and I used it to write a few words to you. That was 5 minutes after the order to relocate to the Moscow front line. There's nothing to worry about. Your husband will be home safe and sound. Yesterday, on December 30th, 1941, I sent a certificate for 60 rubles. I wanted to transfer the money, but I couldn't. Everything is going well, hoping to get in touch with you, but we keep relocating. Second night now, I've been dreaming about spending time with the kids. Bandaging Alec, fighting with Davlyat. Just can't seem to see you. The going gets tough. Go straight to the Supreme Soviet or the Central Komsomol Committee. Ask for help as the wife of a commander. Sell my overcoat and yours. Eat well. Try not to think about me. I will be fine. Forgive me for not writing for so long. I was on a scouting mission, pretending to be a Tatar cripple. Got nominated for an award. I don't care about money. Here at war, we've all forgotten the value of the ruble. The lives of our children, wives, fathers, and mothers matter so much more than money. When we win, money and gold and fame will all be ours. Asya, Happy New Year 1942. Say hi to Dad, Alec, Davlyat, Aziz, Ganiev, Sabir. Love you. Active Army, Field Post 572, Scout Battalion 20, Agash Hamrayev. That was the last we heard from Dad, followed by a few months of torturous waiting. One summer morning, my little brother and me were awakened by a horrible scream. My mother was holding some paper and screaming, "Dad is gone!" We both started crying. Mom was holding us tight, kissing us frantically, her tears rolling down my face. Granddad was weeping in the corner, loudly appealing to his God. I remembered that morning for the rest of my life. It marked the beginning of our fatherless existence. And let me tell you, that's miserable. Lots of boys and girls from our neighborhood lost their dads in the war. Russians, Tatars, Ukrainians, Belarus, Jews, even Gypsies. Lots came from evacuated families. Mama would say, "Dad is coming back. He's either being held captive or else he joined the partisans." No one would sit in Dad's chair. And his clothes were always kept ready. "He can't go to the studio in his military uniform, can he? He's a famous artist," Mom would say. This is Moscow speaking. The First Belarus Front, after a series of heated street confrontations and aided by the First Ukrainian Front, succeeded in defeating a group of German troops. And today, on the 2nd of May, have finally seized the capital of Germany, Berlin. Recently, I was given access to some declassified documents at the archive of the Ministry of Defense. Ergash Hamrayev fought in the Scout Battalion of the 2nd Guard Division. Combat report from February 5, 1942. The enemy continues to hold the line, defending the Moscow-Minsk highway, in some areas going on the offensive, intending to push our troops away from the highway. To the commander of the 32nd Army, the division has a total of 365 rifles. Due to snowstorms and lack of fuel, supplies are scarce. It's 32 below, 121 soldiers are lacking any cold weather gear, and there is no possibility to source it. For Scout Battalion 20 to seize the village of Hozhayevo by sunrise February 10, 1942, and to hold ground. At last, a list by name of the casualties of the officers killed on February 9th. Junior Lieutenant Hamrayev Ergash, killed in battle in Hozhayevo. Hozhayevo. That was unexpected. We'd only ever heard of Chechovke. A second document, declassified by the ministry, a list of so-called irrecoverable losses. Army officers whose families are entitled to receive allowances, indicates that my father died of serious wounds, suffered in Hozhayevo, and was buried in Chechovka, 14 kilometers away. That means father, who had been seriously wounded, was moved to the neighboring village of Chechovka, where there was a hospital. I'm setting out once again to visit the battlefields. For some reason, I again decide to shave my head, just like back in 1985. My main goal now is the village of Hozhayevo. Here it is. So much open space for fire attacks. This is where Ergash Hamrayev went on his last attack. It was such a harsh winter. There was so much snow. We said there was lots of snow this year, but that year there was so much more. Praskovia Mikhailova had a house opposite. That's where they set up a medical battalion. That's where the wounded were taken, everyone, including your dad. There were houses from here to that forest. They were bringing the wounded day and night. Maybe I gave your dad a drink of water. We were doing all we could. Even the kids were trying to help the wounded survive. It didn't matter if they were Russians or Germans. All were taken to the hospital. There were 2 Germans among the Russians in our hut. They would even swear in their own language. It was a terrifying time. I pray to God for it never to happen again. I think when they got my dad to Chechovka, into the warmth of the hut, changed his bandages, gave him some painkillers, he must have thought, my wounds will heal, the war will be over, I will go home to my sons and my beloved Asiya. Then he went to sleep with a smile on his face. It's been 76 years since that cold day, and 76,000 more will pass, and 76 million after that, and my dad will still be dreaming about going home, and he will never know that he died a violent death. Sometimes I think my dad is up there in the sky with his friends, sitting around a lake with a screen-like surface, watching everything. And he says, that's my son back in Tashkent, walking down the old street he grew up in. And the street is now in ruins. My dad left behind his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, a photo album, and a flower vase he gave to my mom on their wedding day. Now, I'm over 80. I often dream of Mom, my brother, my granddad, but never of my dad.
Народа прибывает все больше и больше.